Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel, Canada.ca. We hope you're doing great. In this video, we will discuss Canada's to include temporary residents in its immigration levels plan for the first time, and what to expect. In a significant shift in its immigration policy, Canada has announced plans to include temporary residents in its immigration levels plan for the first time. This move reflects the country's growing recognition of the valuable contributions temporary residents make to the economy and society. By integrating this group into the overall immigration strategy, Canada aims to streamline pathways to permanent residency, foster talent retention, and address labor shortages in various sectors. As this policy unfolds, it brings a host of potential benefits and challenges that will impact both temporary residents and the Canadian immigration landscape. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. So, without any further delay, let's jump into the video. Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada is set to release the 2025-2027 Immigration Levels Plan before November 1, bringing notable changes to Canada's migration strategy. For the first time, the plan will account for temporary residents, including individuals on work permits, study permits, and visitor visas. Traditionally, the Immigration Levels Plan sets annual and projected targets for permanent residents admitted over 3 years, influencing population growth, social systems, taxation, housing, healthcare, and the labor market. However, Immigration Minister Mark Miller confirmed that the inclusion of temporary residents marks a significant shift in policy. Canada hosted over 2.5 million temporary residents in 2023, comprising 6.2% of the population. Miller stated that the goal is to reduce this figure to 5% within the next 3 years by lowering the intake of new temporary residents. The precise targets for future arrivals have yet to be determined, but earlier announcements provide insight into the direction of the upcoming plan. In January, IRC introduced a cap on study permits, planning to process 606,000 applications in 2023, with an anticipated approval of 360,000, a 35% reduction. The surprise move came despite Miller's earlier stance against caps for international students. In September, IRC announced further restrictions for 2025, lowering process permits to 437,000. Master's and PhD students, previously exempt, will now be subject to the cap. International students accounted for 4.2% of Canada. National students accounted for 4.2% of Canada's. The plan also targets open work permits, including post-graduation work permits and spousal open work permits. IRC introduced new language proficiency requirements for PGP applicants, aiming to reduce the number of permits issued by 175,000 over the next 3 years. The changes to SOAPs are expected to further decrease issuance by 50,000, with new eligibility tied to specific criteria such as program length and in-demand fields. Spouses of highly skilled workers will still qualify, but the department expects a total reduction of 325,000 open work permits over 3 years. Employment Minister Randy Boissonnault announced changes to the Temporary Foreign Worker Program, limiting employers to hiring no more than tens of their workforce through the program. Low-wage workers hired under TFP can now only work for 1 year instead of 2. Additionally, the FUP applications from areas with unemployment rates above 6 will not be processed. Barring exceptions, Boissonnault emphasized that TFUP was meant to be a last resort, and he stressed the need to curb employers' reliance on temporary foreign workers. Permanent resident targets and adjustments. Canada's 2024-2026 Immigration Levels Plan set a target of 500,000 new permanent residents annually by 2025 and 2026. While 60 of these immigrants are expected to be economic migrants, Miller hinted at potential changes in the types of immigration Canada will prioritize. The shift in focus comes amid concerns over affordable housing shortages, healthcare pressure, and shifting public sentiment. A 2023 Environics Institute report highlighted waning support for immigration, with concerns rooted in infrastructure challenges rather than opposition to migrants. Striking a balance. Miller acknowledged the need to regulate the influx of temporary residents to prevent exploitation, citing cases where vulnerable newcomers faced scams or insufficient support. However, both Miller and Boissonnault stressed the importance of immigration for labor market growth, urging caution to avoid over-correction. The new immigration levels plan will serve as a key policy document, influencing Canada's migration strategy and public discourse, especially with federal elections on the horizon. The inclusion of temporary residents in Canada's immigration levels plan marks a pivotal moment in the country's approach to immigration. As the policy takes shape, it promises to enhance opportunities for temporary residents while also addressing pressing labor market needs. However, the success of this initiative will depend on its implementation and the government's ability to navigate the complexities associated with integrating temporary residents into a comprehensive immigration framework. Stakeholders, including employers, advocacy groups, and prospective immigrants, will be closely monitoring this development to understand its implications for Canada's future immigration landscape. That is all for today in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later in the next video. Till then, take care.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Canada.ca. We hope you are doing great. In this video, we will discuss Canada's to include temporary residents in its immigration level plan for the first time and what to expect. Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada is opposed to release the 2025 to 2027 immigration levels plan by November 1st, signaling a significant transformation in Canada's migration strategy. For the first time, this plan will incorporate temporary residents encompassing individuals on work permits, study permits, and visitor visas. Traditionally, the immigration levels plan has focused solely on targets for permanent residents, admissions over a 3-year horizon, shaping critical aspects of population's growth, social system, taxation, housing, healthcare, and labor markets. The announcements by Immigration Minister Mark Miller about including temporary residents signifies a notable policy shift. In 2023, Canada hosted over 2.5 million temporary residents, accounting for 6.2% of the population. The government aims to reduce this figure to 5% within 3 years, which may involve lowering the intake of new temporary residents. Although specific targets for future arrivals remains unconfirmed, recent actions by IRCC provide insight into the trajectory of the upcoming plan. Earlier this year, IRCC implemented a cap on study permits, aiming to process 6,000 applicants in 2023 with a projected approval of 3,60,000, reflecting a 35% reduction. This decision was unexpected, especially given Miller previous resistance to caps on international students. In September, IRCC announced further restrictions for 2025, planning to decrease the processed permits to 4,37,000. Previously exempted master's and PhD students will now fall under this cap. International students represented 42% of Canada's temporary residents in 2023, highlighting the significances of this group in the overall immigration landscape. The plan also addresses open work permits, including post-graduation work permits and spousal open work permits, new language proficiency requirements for PGWP applicants aim to lower the issuance of these permits by 1,75,000 over 3 years. Additionally, adjustment to SOWP criteria could lead to a further reduction of 50,000 permits. Bolsonaro introduced modification to the temporary foreign workers program, limiting employers to hiring a maximum of 10% of their workforce through this program. New regulation will restrict low-wage workers to 1 year work permits instead of 2, and application from regions with the unemployment rates above 6% will generally not be processed, emphasizing that TFWP should be a last resort for employers. Looking ahead, Canada's 2024-2026 immigration levels plan targets 5 lakh new permanent residents annually by 2025 and 2026, with 60% expected to the economic migrants. This adjustment in focus rises and concern regarding affordable housing shortages, healthcare pressures, and changing public sentiment towards immigrations. As revealed in a 2023 Enviric Institute report, Miller acknowledges the need to manage the influx of temporary residents to mitigate exploitation risk, while underscoring immigration essential role in a labor market growth. The new immigration levels plan is set to influence Canada's migration strategy significantly and will attract close attention from stakeholders as it unfolds, especially in the context of upcoming federal elections.